what I want to talk about very briefly is this whole fake news controversy.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Let's talk
so
about the fake news
everyone is
controversy.
pissed off at the fake news. People just making shit up and putting it up on Facebook and spreading it around. And I know. I understand that's a problem. But I think the bigger problem is the so-called real news being fake, right? Because
Are you talking about my favorite fake news story of all time? Had to be that series of fake news stories that the New York Times published above the fold from Judith Miller about how weapons of mass destruction were in Iraq. Those were all fake. That was all bullshit. They did no journalism in trying to fact check that. It was a fast track from Dick Cheney's mouth to the front page of the Wall Street Journal. To the New York Times. So those are the fake stories. That's what you're talking about?
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I'm talking about the fact that mainstream media has lost all credibility. They have. The way they covered the run-up to the Iraq war, shameful, disgraceful. Everyone who's involved should resign in disgrace and just apologize to the whole nation for running this war right through. Okay, so because of that, the population, regular people, don't trust it anymore. I forget what the exact percentage was, but the trust in the media is down to like record lows. It's like 9% or whatever, 6%. Something like that. It's abysmal. And because of that, fake news is able to survive. And fake news really caters, I'm talking about like the crazy right-wing conspiracy theories like that whole Pizzagate thing. Mm-hmm. That's going to appeal to a certain segment of society no matter what, okay? That's not the reason why Trump won. That's what a lot of folks on the left think. All the Clinton supporters, they think we lost, or that they lost, partly because of fake news. And my point is, no, that's not why you lost, okay? Again, you're learning all the wrong lessons.
All the wrong lessons.
Okay? The problem with our media is not there's certain liars on Facebook and YouTube. Right. The problem with our media is that those who go on air with billions of dollars supporting that infrastructure fail the American people day in and day out. Day in and day out. Just like little things that are very subtle. For example, there was a story that was written about the Dapple protest, and it said,
what New York Times?
Well, I think it was the Washington Post.
Okay.
Maybe it was New York Times. I forget which one it was.
Times. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think you're right. But basically, it said something along the lines of, there were many injuries at the protest, and protesters claim, 15 of them were injured by the police. One cop was injured. Right, so it's subtle, but
they say the cop claimed he was injured.
Exactly, the cop's injury is stated as a matter of fact, unquestionable fact. Whereas the protesters' injuries, well, they claimed it. We don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. But they're claiming it, so we'll just report it. Cops say this, protesters say that. Why doesn't the Times say this is exactly what happened? Okay?
Right.
There were 18 injuries. One woman got her arm blown off by a concussion grenade. Blah blah blah. Why don't they report that?
Well, I'm going to guess two things. A, they didn't have a reporter there.
They didn't have a reporter there. Yeah.
That's what I'm going to guess. They didn't have a reporter there. So B, so now they just have to go, well, we heard this and we heard that. We'll never know.
Yeah, so that's a small lie that makes the mainstream media just look silly and lose credibility.
And worthless, because if you're tuning into that story, you want to know what's going on. And after you're done reading it, you don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on.
You don't know. And by the way, it's ascertainable as to what is going on.
Yes.
You know what you do? You send a reporter there, like the Young Turks did. We sent a reporter there, and now we know what's going on there.
Yeah. We know exactly what's going on there.
We know exactly.
And then the big lies, like the Judith Miller stories.
Yeah. The big lies, which would be the how our leading newspaper led us into beat the drums for war and led us into an illegal war. They did that, and then by the way, when their own reporters revealed war crimes inside of our government, their reporters got prosecuted and sent to jail by the Barack Obama administration. And you remember, you saw all those front page stories about the New York Times screaming about it, right?
Right. So that's the problem with real news.
So the problem with
fake
real
news
is that they're in bed with the real establishment, so you don't get real news. You get whatever. Noam Chomsky talked about this in manufacturing.
Let's go to Noam Chomsky.
Let's talk about manufacturing consent. That's what they're there. Somebody asked Noam Chomsky one time, they said, you have this theory, you say that the elite control the media. What evidence do you have to prove that? He says, they control the media. The elite control the media. What evidence do you have to prove it? He goes, I don't have to show you any evidence. All I have to show you is that they own the media. They are the media. They don't have to. They are it.
Yeah.
The media isn't owned by co-ops and workers. The media is owned by 6 giant corporations. 6. Bringing you all your radio, all your newspaper, all your TV, all your satellite, all your cable, all frickin' everything is brought to you by 6 giant corporations, and that's thanks to the Democrats.